Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 6, Episode 8. It's called Recon. It's Sawyer's last episode, and it's a Ben episode. But first, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
Alrighty then. Who's ready for a little more Sawyer?
Let's do it.
I feel like you get a lot more. You get a lot more Sawyer in this episode.
Oof. Yeah.
This episode. I feel like this episode's for the ladies, and people that like Sawyer that way. The
for
folks,
any
the
gender
folks who like Sawyer that way.
Who likes
exactly.
Sawyer that way? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we dive into Captain Oily Pants, Ben, could you remind us what our rankings look like at the end of episode 7?
At the bottom, in third place, with negative 26 points, we have a tie between Creamy Keemy and Dogecoin.
All right. I don't think that seems fair. I don't think they're equal, but.
And second from the bottom, Randy Douchebag Nations with negative 28 points. And at the bottom of the bottom,
Douchebag Nations. I can't really resist doing that.
And at the bottom, we have Leslie Artst.
Not fair. I don't agree with either the Dojin or the Arse positions, but not much I can do about it, I guess. Who's on the top? Arse.
Yeah, at the top, again, we have a tie in third place with both Alana and Miles with 25 points. Jack, the Silver Surgeon, in second place with 45 points, and Hurley holding on to the lead with 73 points.
Whoop, whoop. Mayor of Allentown. All right, Ben. How'd you like to take us through some recon?
Well, first of all, I'm going to mansplain. Recon is short for reconnaissance.
Oh, my God.
In case y'all didn't know that.
Thanks.
And you learn something new every day.
That's right. Until you get to our age and you start forgetting shit.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but then you just learn it again, so it's new.
Every day's a new day.
Yeah.
Yep. We start at 2007 on the island. Sawyer is outside of Claire's hut. He approaches the fire with a kettle hanging above it and attempts to grab it with his bare hand. Son of a bitch, he mutters before... That's not really mutters. He says, son of a bitch. He'd be like, son of a bitch. That would be muttering it. But he was more, son of a bitch, he says, before grabbing a cloth to protect his hand and making a mug of tea.
I mean, did he think it was going to be cold? It was a piece of metal hanging over a fire.
Yeah. I feel like understanding heat conduction is something that Sawyer would have picked up in life by now, but that's fine.
You'd think so.
They just had to get a son of a bitch in there somewhere.
Exactly. It's probably what they did. They got to the end of the episode. They realized he hadn't said it once. They're like, well, we got to do something completely inane at the beginning that won't impact the story. I know. He'll have tea.
Yeah.
He says it again later in the episode.
Well, then that theory is shot to hell right there.
Throw that out the window.
Sorry.
Inside Claire's shelter, Jin is sleeping. Sawyer tries to wake him, but it takes a nudge to do it. Jin wakes up groggy and asks how long he's been out. Sawyer says, a while. Figured you could use a rest. Jin wants to know where Claire and Unlock are. Sawyer says, I don't know. They said they'd be back by sunup. Jin panics and says that they need to get out of there. But Sawyer tries to calm him down. Whoa, whoa. I'm with Locke. That is not Locke, Jin insists. Sawyer nods. Yeah, I know. Whoever he is, he says he can get us off this damn island. Jin says he can't leave if Sun is still on the island, and Sawyer promises that if she's there, they won't leave without her. Suddenly, they hear a noise outside the shelter, and Sawyer says, "They're back."
They're
back.
Outside the tent, Unlock leads a large group of the remaining others into the clearing. Amongst them are Saeed, Claire, and Kate. Saeed and Claire stop close to each other. Kate approaches Sawyer and gives him a Kate look and says, "Hi." "Hi yourself," Sawyer replies before Kate continues walking past him. That's all that happens in that scene.
Pretty much.
Indeed.
Flash sideways, number 1. The scene opens on one half of a bed. Sawyer dismounts and flops backward onto that spot while he's grunting in satisfaction. An arm flops over his chest. And a voice says, "Wow, Jimmy, you are unbelievable." Jimmy replies,
"What?
You're not too shabby yourself, sweetheart." They kiss a little, and then she glances at the clock and reminds Jimmy that he's going to meet that guy at 9 a.m. And currently it's 8:42.
Oh.
Just like he did with Cassidy, we see him go through the paces. He gets a surprised look, says, "Damn it," grabs a briefcase, and then, whoa, surprise, surprise, briefcase falls open and a bunch of cash spills out.
Shocking.
Yep. Sawyer pretends that she shouldn't have seen that, and the woman asks him if he's doing, what's he doing with all that cash. Sawyer replies, "This meeting, it's a potential investment. We're going 50-50. The guy wants to see the money up front."
Mm-hmm. And that's what that means. Like, anytime you do a business deal with somebody and they want to see the money up front, you typically deliver it in a briefcase as opposed to a bank statement.
Of course.
Totally normal.
And then
Everything legit.
You take on the drugs, because that's about the only thing you're going to pay cash for is drugs.
Right.
Says, "Don't worry, it won't take long. I'll be right back. Me and you will go for a round." But before he can say the word "two," the woman suddenly pulls a gun on Sawyer and demands that he drops the case.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
No. Yeah. Did you think he was conning in the side verse, Derek?
Of course.
Well, yeah, especially with the briefcase.
All right. So you were surprised at the end of the scene too.
Oh yeah.
Sawyer tries to calm the situation down, but the woman says, "Here's the thing, Dimples. I can spot a con man. I'm married to one, so I know all about the pigeon drop." "Oh, what?"
I love that she pulled out the, sassy
Dimples.
Nickname.
Yeah.
Yes. That's great. We're in the side verse where Sawyer receives nicknames.
Right. "Oh, what? That case just accidentally flew open? How stupid do you think I am?" Pleased with himself, Sawyer says, "Pretty damn stupid, actually. This is a setup, lady. There's a van sitting right outside. The room is bugged, place is surrounded by cops. So you want to put that gun down?"
Wait, excuse me? Were the cops listening to them fuck? Or like what?
Probably.
What do you mean the room is bugged? And what are you doing actually having sex with her? Isn't that illegal?
I think this kind of contravenes a number
of
of
she never asked him if he was a cop.
Yeah, I mean, okay, she never asked him that, but I don't think that gives the right to like make secret audio porn of her. Like,
this is how Jimmy hits it and quits it, man. He does.
That's right.
He does it with the impunity of the shield of law.
That's right.
Wow, that's disturbing, actually. All right. Anyway,
so he says, "So now you want to put that gun down and we'll work something out?" "They don't care about you. They want your husband. There's a tracer in the case. All you have to do is take it back to wherever your hubby's hiding out." She scoffs at the idea that what he's saying is true and wants to know why nobody has rushed in to save him yet. Sawyer says, "I don't need saving, because you're going to do the right thing and put that gun down."
That's right.
"But if you don't, well, then all I got to say is the magic word and that door busts open." The woman says, "You're a lousy con man," and then cocks her gun so Jimmy knows that she's serious.
Oh, yeah.
To which Sawyer replies, "Le Fleur." And she says, "La what? La what?"
Did she say it like that?
She did.
She great.
Did. Just as several police officers kick down the door and yell, "Police, drop the gun." The woman drops the gun and is handcuffed. And motherfucking policeman Miles approaches Sawyer to say,
Hey, boss.
cutting it a little close, huh? Sawyer replies, only way to cut it. So cheesy.
Yeah, cut the cheese. That's right.
Revoked.
Right? Has just been revoked. Miles tosses Sawyer a police badge on a chain and tells him to put his damn clothes on. And Sawyer replies, you got it, partner.
What?
The woman is shocked and says, you're a cop? Sawyer hangs the badge
boing.
over his neck so it dangles in front of his glistening hard chest and says,
Ooh.
surprise.
You noticed that, did you, Ben?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I sure did.
glistening hard chest. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Surprise.
He did this entire scene with an erection.
What?
Everyone walks in. He's sitting there. Oh, yeah.
Is it attention?
I got my shield on, but I still got an erection.
I imagine, it's got to be hard for male actors
To not get a Woody?
Yeah, who are doing a real genuine sex scene. I mean, you have to pretend like it's happening. Plus, they're wearing tiny little dick socks. It's not like they have a lot of.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah, they put and
Dick
and
sock.
I mean, it has had to have happened to more than one actor in more than one situation.
I'm sure.
It's as a person with a vajayge, I mean, you can hide maybe that it's dripping wet, but you can't hide a big old erection. Anyways.
Lost title screen.
There we go.
You really like where I placed that?
Yeah.
That worked really well, I thought.
And the entire screen goes white.
Yes.
Ew.
Wow.
Back to 2007 on the island. Claire enters her shelter, collects a knife, and checks out the freak show in the bassinet. Kate cautiously enters and looks around. Is this where you lived? She asks. Yeah, Claire replies. Kate looks at the fake baby in horror. What did we call it last time? It was a...
I can't even remember our own jokes.
Yeah, it was Borby. It was a Borby.
Oh, the Borby.
Okay.
That's right.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Kate looks again at fake horror at the Borby and says, "What is that?" And Claire looks at her and says, "It's all I had." Yikes.
Yikes, indeed.
That's all you had because you got nothing left. She's fucking nuts.
Yep.
Yikes.
Outside the shelter, Unlock addresses his followers. All right, everybody, listen up. Come on in, gather around. I know that everyone is tired. I know it was a long and traumatic night for all of us. And you all have a lot of questions.
Because you murdered everyone. The hell? He's acting like, oh, yeah, I know it was a tough night, guys.
Just a condition,
Sorry I had to slaughter everyone. My apologies.
He continues, and I will make myself available to answer them. But right now, we need to keep moving. We have to take advantage of the daylight. Cindy steps forward to say that the group wants to know what happened to those who stayed at the temple. Unlock replies, the black smoke killed them.
Did it.
Claire takes Kate's hand and holds it in hers.
What? They holding hands. Derek.
You're going to have to wash that vajayjay
Need to
first.
clean Claire up, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Oh, my
Needs to be
goodness.
scrubbed.
Go at it with a weed whacker first.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, should be going to the jungle.
Welcome to Claire's jungle.
Gross.
Gross.
The children look distraught, so Unlock kneels beside Zach and Emma and say, hey, I know that what happened back there was really scary, but it's over. You're with me now, and I promise that I'm going to take care of you, okay? Then he stands and calls out to the group that it's time to move. Claire releases Kate's hand and walks away as a contemplative Kate stands watching her.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
I wonder, contemplative Kate. Yeah. I wonder if what is going on with Claire here? What's the hand holding, especially knowing what's to come later?
Just throwing her off guard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think. I mean, otherwise she's maybe having like psychosexual sort of things where it's like, yeah, she doesn't know which way to go with it. I want to fuck you. I want to kill you. I want to fuck you. I want to kill you. You know, she's crazy. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. Is that what psychosexual means, though?
I don't
feel
know.
like
I'm
that's
just making
not.
Psychosexual.
Just making shit up.
That wasn't used in the right context. Oh, you're playing Balderdash again.
Mm-hmm.
Psychosexual, of or involving the psychological aspects of the sexual impulse. I don't think she's being sexual with Kate, but
No.
it was kind of an interesting, because it's such a gentle thing, and you think, oh, okay, maybe she's coming around. She's not mad at Kate.
Uh-huh.
So Sawyer approaches Kate and says, looks like you had a hell of a night. Jack, Hurley, the rest of them, they make it all out of the temple all right? Kate says she saw them leaving the temple on her way back, and Sawyer asks about Miles. Kate doesn't know what happened to Miles. Instead, she asks, so you're with Locke now? Sawyer replies with a familiar line, I ain't with nobody, Kate.
That's right.
That's right.
Flash sideways, number 2, 2004, off the island. Sawyer is at his desk in the police station making phone calls. Hello, is this Anthony Cooper? Hello, Mr. Cooper. This is Detective James Ford, LAPD. Yeah, we discovered some unclaimed property that might belong to you. Can you verify you were in Alabama in 1976? Uh-huh. Nice. Okay, thanks. Sorry to have taken up your time.
So he's not just a cop. He's an actual detective. It's pretty impressive for Sawyer.
A con man.
For the con man.
Sawyer hangs up and crosses a name off the list and dials the next one. May I speak with Anthony Cooper? He asks. As Miles approaches with coffee mugs, Sawyer notices and says, sorry, I'm going to have to call you back, and hangs up. Who's Anthony Cooper? Miles inquires. Old buddy I ran into. Said he could hook me up with Lakers tickets.
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah.
Miles wants to know if Sawyer saw him on his trip to Palm Springs. Sawyer seems caught off guard, hesitates, and then says, yeah, it's a blur. Too much sunshine. Too many Mai Tais. Miles tells him to get it together because Sawyer has a blind date tonight with Miles' friend, who works with his father at the museum. Sawyer looks less than thrilled, so Miles pushes, telling him she's great. Sawyer replies, well, if she's so great, why don't you go out with her? Miles says, hey, I got a girlfriend. What's your deal, Jim? You want to die alone? Reluctantly, Sawyer agrees, all right, look, I go out with her. Are you going to leave me alone? Miles smiles and says, as long as it also comes with one of those Lakers tickets. Sawyer stammers, look, I'm already pulling strings with this guy. It's just, I don't know if I can get another ticket. A suspicious Miles says, you know you can tell me the truth about anything. Are you lying to me, man? While lying, Sawyer says, why the hell would I lie?
Sawyer, lie? Never.
I love that they continue in the side verse, the like Miles and Sawyer professional relationship.
They're buddy cops.
Yeah.
Yep.
2007, on the island, Unlock's group is traveling through the jungle, and he informs everyone they'll make camp about a quarter mile ahead in a clearing. He says, everybody fill up on water. We might be there a couple days. Sawyer, skeptical, asks, a couple days? Thought you said you were getting us off this rock.
Mm-hmm.
Unlock reassures him, we are. Sawyer presses wanting to know when, and the group starts noticing tension between the two. Unlock suggests maybe we should talk about this in private. Sawyer agrees.
Sawyer got called into the principal's office.
That's right.
Sawyer agrees, and they venture into the jungle. Unlock says, I wish you hadn't interrupted me. So, Sawyer.
The way he approaches Sawyer like a disappointed parent is hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah, he does that a lot. I'm very disappointed in all of you. There's this sort of, like they're lesser than him.
Well, they can't turn into smoke.
Yeah.
It's true. Sawyer replies, I'm sorry, I forgot my manners. Unlock forgives Sawyer, who then asks, what happened back at the temple? How'd you know to rescue everybody from the smoke thing? Unlock reveals, I didn't rescue them. I'm the smoke thing. Shocked, Sawyer questions, you telling me you killed all those people? Unlock clarifies, I gave them the opportunity to leave peacefully, and they didn't take it.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
it's your fault you got killed.
Not lying.
Sawyer doesn't understand why they wouldn't leave, and Unlock explains, because they're convinced that they're protecting the island from me, when in fact, all I want to do is leave. So it's either kill or be killed. And I don't want to be killed.
I actually believed him in that moment.
Yeah.
The man in black, the smoke monster, like he sounded earnest, like, well, I don't want to be killed.
Yep. The men reach an outrigger on the shore. You going on a boat ride? Sawyer asks. Unlock responds, you are. He informs Sawyer that he'll be going to Hydra Island. Sawyer questions why, and Unlock informs him the plane, the Ajira flight, the same plane that brought your friends back. Unfortunately, they didn't come alone, and I have reason to believe that some of the passengers mean to do us all harm. So I want you to go over there and do some recon. Sawyer replies, well, that sounds safe. Unlock reassures him that he'll be fine. Sawyer, unconvinced, asks, yeah? And what am I supposed to do if I run into somebody who wants to do me harm? Unlock replies, I'm not worried about that, because you're the best liar I've ever met.
Oh.
Sawyer looks down for a moment and then meets Unlock's eyes again. Unlock continues, you tell them whatever you need to tell them to gain their trust. Find out everything you can about them and then get back here. Sawyer wants to know why he should wish to do this. Unlock gives an Unlock look and says, why do you think, James? We get on that plane, we fly out this island, and we never look back.
Right, because there's a runway available.
Exactly, like Hydra Island is tiny. We wait for a fucking hurricane to come through. We turn it into the wind, and eventually it'll get us aloft. And
there you go.
Jesus Christ, give me a fucking break.
I heard that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you need more than like a few feet to get up to speed to take off, huh?
I mean, I know we were talking about
so large.
Yeah, exactly. I know we were talking about in season 2 or whatever, 3, that we were like, hey, what are they building? And it looks like a runway, but there's a runway, and then there's a runway for a fucking like commercial jet, and those things that's.
You mean when they were in the 70s? Oh no, it wouldn't have been that. No, it would have been season 2. Oh, when Juliet.
Danny.
Yes. Dad Pants Danny. Dead Pants Danny. Forgot about him for a second. Yeah, that's right. When they have him smashing rocks and stuff. Yeah. Well, and then I remember Juliet actually tells Sawyer that they're building a runway for the aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
Flash sideways. Number 3, 2004, off the island. Sawyer arrives at a crowded restaurant and scans the crowd before pulling his phone from his pocket. Now, the script
excuse me,
said,
you
looking
missed.
fine as hell. I know exactly what I am doing.
You missed what it said. Looking fine as hell.
I see that.
Yeah, y'all can say that.
Yeah, I could say that, but I'm going to say it when I'm going to take it and put it my way, which is what I tried to do there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He calls him. He calls Miles to get a reminder of what the date looks like. Miles says, she's a redhead. How many redheads do you see? Sawyer spots a redhead at the bar and responds, Roger that. Miles tells Sawyer to be nice to her, and Sawyer says, yeah, as he hangs up. He approaches the bar and says, excuse me, would you be Rocky fucking Dennis?
Yeah, there we are.
She looks beautiful here.
She looks hot. She looks hot.
Yeah.
I thought when she was on the island, I was like, yeah, they don't do her any favors. But like when she's dressed up like this, she's pretty hot.
Yep.
I thought so.
To which she says, I most certainly am. Shaking his hand with a genuine look, Sawyer says, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, nothing gets the young ladies excited like calling them ma'am.
Right. But and also looking fine as hell.
Mm-hmm. That too. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and then he immediately goes into, just yesterday I was raw dogging this witness or
Suspect,
whatever,
witness,
the suspect we've been working. So, I'm really into my job. Jesus. Now, at the table, a waiter brings them some wine. Archaeology, huh? Sawyer comments. What's wrong with archaeology? She asks. Nothing. I just figured you'd be stuck in a room somewhere dusting off antiques. Sawyer replies, prompting Charlotte to laugh. No, I actually get to travel quite a bit, to far off and romantic places. Really? He says. What are you, like Indiana Jones or something? Yes, I'm exactly like Indiana Jones, she says. So Sawyer asks if she's got a whip, and she flirts with a maybe.
Yeah.
They laugh a little, and then Rocky asks why Sawyer became a cop. He says, you ever seen Bullet, Steve McQueen flick? She says no, so he tells her that he won't bore her with an explanation. That will happen later with Lacey and the fun facts.
It's true.
Anyway, Rocky is slightly annoyed and says, okay, do me a favor, James. Don't treat me like all the other girls and that ask you that. Just tell me the truth. Sawyer stares at her momentarily, shakes his head and sighs before confessing, well, I guess I got to a point in my life where I was either going to become a criminal or a cop. So I chose a cop.
Interesting.
Charlotte stares at him with a slight smile. What? Sawyer asks. You know what, she replies.
Oh,
Time for that
shit.
whip.
Yeah, it's time to get ready to rumble with a Rocky.
That's right.
They're pretty cute. They're pretty cute together in this scene, but it's no Sawyer and Juliet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jump to Sawyer's place, where the two of them are now passionately kissing and pulling each other's clothes off. Jump again to post-boinking, and the two of them are lying nude, facing each other with a sheet barely covering. Rocky says, well, not bad, considering we didn't have that whip.
That's right.
Shit.
Not bad.
And Sawyer says, bring it next time. They kiss, and he offers her some water as he gets up to go to the kitchen. She says, you mind if I borrow a t-shirt? Sawyer says she can grab one from the top dresser of the right. Sawyer goes to the kitchen while Rocky, it says Charlotte, but I'm going to go back to Charlotte now, while Charlotte walks to the dresser. She sees a small stack of books on the top of an illustrated rabbit. The book is Watership Down. She then opens the drawer on the left, which is clearly full of pants, not t-shirts. And yet she persists. She starts rummaging through the drawer until she finds a 3-ring binder labeled Sawyer.
Was she was she looking for this?
I don't think so. I don't
She's
know.
an archaeologist. They just like digging through shit.
Yeah, right.
She couldn't help herself.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. I guess it's to me, I couldn't tell exactly how they meant for her facial expressions to be when she finds this, because there's one thing in finding something and having like a curious look about it, but it was almost like the same.
Oh yeah.
The same scene that the flashback of her being an archaeologist in Tanzania and in Tunisia and finding the collar from the polar bear. It was almost that same look where it was like, I found it.
Do you think Miles asked her to do this?
I don't know what I think. I want to know what you think.
Well,
I didn't think anything of the sort. I just thought
No, not at all.
She was just a moron who...
At the time, yes, but now going through it again, I'm like, aha.
Okay.
Yeah. She didn't know her left from her right.
Yeah.
Or pants from t-shirts.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd open it up very first thing. Those are pants. Nope.
Those
Let
are
me open up
pants.
the other
Oops.
one.
Yeah. He said on the right or something. I don't know. I guess I just felt like, is she really that dumb, or was she actually
a tall dresser with only one drawer? You know.
It had left and right.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
No worries. Anyways, I guess maybe I'm just like overestimating her abilities to tell the difference between pants and shirts. I don't know.
Yeah. From underneath a folder, she pulls a photograph from the drawer. It's a picture of young James Ford with both of his parents. She smiles a little and then opens the binder. Inside, she finds the exact photo as part of an article explaining that Sawyer's father had murdered his mother. Rocky leans in with a fascinated look on her face. Sawyer is now in the doorway and snaps, "What the hell are you doing?" Rocky, Charlotte, scrambles to put the folder away and tries explaining, but Sawyer wants to know what she saw. She says, "Nothing, just this. That the picture fell out. I was trying to put it back." And increasingly more frantic, Sawyer demands again, "What did you see?" Rocky pleads with him that she didn't see anything, but Sawyer loses it and tells her to get the hell out. She tries one last time. "James, just let me explain." But Sawyer is having none of it and says, "Get out." She gathers her things and leaves the room as Sawyer picks up the photo and stares at it.
Why is he so mad that she found that? Like, did it have his murder plans in the binder or something? Or is he just embarrassed? Or I don't get it. Like, I'm not sure why he would be so angry just that she... I guess if you walk in and see somebody like with your private
through your
shit just like open. Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Now, if it was
too.
sitting on top of the dresser and she was going through, that's not a big deal, but she dug through a drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. And that's why some of the scene was sort of confusing to me, because it seemed like she was digging with a purpose. Because if you're looking for a shirt and you open a drawer,
to look.
I guess so. All right. I wasn't sure why Sawyer would be so angry about this, but maybe it's just because he doesn't want people to know.
That's what I think.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of a shitty thing to... Yep, parents are dead. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably would get old having to tell people that your father murdered your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In 2007, on Hydra Island, Sawyer arrives, pulling the outrigger ashore. He makes his way to the cages he lived in during season 2. One of them is open, and inside is that cute little dress that Kate wore the first night they boffed. It says borked here. I don't like borked. They boffed. They boinked.
Boffed.
They boffed.
They did it.
Bumping uglies. He picks up a dress and holds it, letting out a sigh, then takes a deep whiff.
That's what I say. Oh, yeah. I remember that day. There's some white stains.
Oh, my God. And then he gets himself a fish biscuit.
Yeah. The rest of the episode, he's just running around with it in his mouth like a dog.
The dress or the fish biscuit?
The dress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back at Unlock's camp on the island, Kate and Saeed sit on a log while the others are scurrying around them. Kate asks if Saeed believed that Unlock can get them off the island. Saeed says with a far-off stare and monotone voice, "Yes, I believe him." Kate takes notice and asks Saeed if he's all right. Saeed slowly glances in her direction and blankly says, "No."
Uh-oh.
He's like, "No, I'm not all right. I'm a fucking zombie."
Saeed is not looking like himself.
I'm having to reconcile my desire for
again.
brains. Yeah. Suddenly, Claire grabs Kate from behind and wrestles her to the ground while whipping out her giant fucking knife.
What?
Kate's hands are wrapped around. Yeah, Kate's hands are wrapped around Claire's arm while Claire tries desperately to plunge the knife into her neck. Wow. Despite Kate calling out for Saeed to help, he stares at the log. He stays on the log, quietly watching.
Hot. I'd watch too.
Yeah. Unlock rushes over, pulls Claire up like a fucking doll, picks her up with two hands and just tosses her. It's really funny. Says, "What are you doing?" Kate picks up a rifle and gets ready to swing it like a baseball bat, but as Claire moves forward, screaming and Kate screaming about Kate taking Aaron.
My baby.
Seriously. One trick pony.
Yep.
Unlock explains that because Claire had disappeared, Kate did what she had to do. Wild Claire doesn't give a fuck and screams, "She took AA wrong. You can't just do that."
You fucking
Unlock.
disappeared.
What do? Just leave the baby laying there?
I know,
to
right?
starve?
Just like
I mean,
drop it in the
fuck.
jungle.
Yeah.
Well, your mom's gone, Ron, so you're going to have to die now.
Fend for
Sorry.
yourself.
Yeah, and as Unlock rears back to slap her, all of a sudden, Will Smith jumps into the scene, slaps Claire right across the face. Unlock puts his hands on Claire's shoulder and says, "This is completely inappropriate. Now you go over there and I'll deal with you in a minute."
Go sit in the corner.
Seriously.
He's everybody's parent.
That's right.
It is apparent. A whimpering, I had to. A whimpering Claire stumbles away, and Unlock turns to Kate, who is frantic, to ask if she's okay. Kate snaps, "No, I'm not all right." Unlock pauses momentarily, looking at Kate, before turning and walking to Claire. Kneeling by the fire pit, Kate is left, leaning on a tree, panting and frantic.
Poor Kate.
Doing her best Jack impression.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, on Hydra Island, Sawyer arrives at the nose tip of the Ajira plane. He follows underneath the body until he sees luggage everywhere with a fire pit in the middle. He checks to see if the burnwood is hot and then notices a path laid out in the sand.
There he goes again, putting his hand in the goddamn fire.
Seriously.
What are you doing, Sawyer?
I mean, he could tell that it wasn't like hot, but I think that he was touching it to see how fresh it was.
Well, that I get. But
first,
still.
I put my hand close to it to make sure you don't feel any heat before I just grab onto it.
Yeah. If I get a 3rd-degree burn, it's very fresh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He follows the path laid out to a giant pile of rotten human corpses.
Yeah,
which he sees before he smells, which is funny. Like you're gonna smell that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll smell that way away.
Away 5 kilometers inland at least.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sawyer hears movement in the jungle, pulls out his gun, and starts running toward it. He catches a glimpse of a woman running, chases her down, tackles her, and points his gun. "Don't move," he orders. "Please don't hurt me," the woman pleads. "Who the hell are you?" Sawyer demands. Panting, the woman replies, "I'm the only one left."
Mm-hmm.
Heard that
I'm
one
immediately suspicious of you, lady.
Oh yeah, this one, yeah.
Yeah, she's got shifty eyes. Flash sideways, number 4, 2004, off the island. Liam fucking Pace stands in front of a busy officer at the police station trying to get information about his brother who was arrested on a drug charge. Sawyer walks by and Liam approaches him, but Sawyer brushes him off saying it's not his department. Miles enters, greeting Sawyer with a "Morning, sunshine." Miles tells Sawyer to follow him.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Not all is
office.
well. Yeah, not all is well in buddy cop land. Cut to the locker room where Miles slams Lawyer. I did it again.
You did it.
It's the slams Sawyer. Slams is SL and then all right. Cut to the locker room where Miles slams his lawyer, Sawyer, against the wall and tells him to shut up. "Is there something you want to tell me?" Miles demands. Sawyer says, "Look, she opened the wrong drawer." Metaphorically?
Yeah.
But Miles isn't talking about Rocky Dennis. He says, "What the hell are you talking about? I want to know what you were doing in Australia when you told me you were going to Palm Springs. I ran your credit card. I know you went to Sydney. Oceanic, round trip. You took flight 815 back 2 days ago."
Hold up. Because earlier in this episode, Miles mentions that Lawyer was in Palm Springs for the weekend.
Yes.
So you're telling me he flew to Sydney and back and had time to look for Anthony Cooper in a weekend?
Might be a long weekend, you know.
Very long weekend.
Yeah, like a 7-day weekend, you know.
I need to see flights from LA.
I think it's like
to
20
Australia.
hours. Maybe not 20, but 18.
It's probably a little bit less than that.
Wouldn't you gain a day flying there, right? That's the way it works.
But then you lose it on the way back. Same
sure,
difference.
you lose it on the way back, yeah.
Oh, Sydney nonstop.
15 hours.
Yeah, only 15 hours. So, but if you're gone for 38 and you're flying for 30, plus all the time in the airport, that doesn't give you a lot of time.
48.
Yeah, 48.
This is 48, yeah.
That's what I meant to say if I didn't, but you're using 30. So you got 18 hours left plus all the travel that you need to do, like all
Going
the time.
through customs and
all
shit.
of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I suppose you probably could do that if you went out.
Well, if you had an address, like if you had an actual address, I could see it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a holiday weekend.
Okay.
Just saying. I mean,
I'd love to go there, though.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sawyer wants to know what the hell Miles was doing running his credit card. Miles says, "You lied to me. We're supposed to trust each other. So, Jim, what were you doing in Australia?" Sawyer says it's none of his damn business. So Miles drops a bomb. "You know what? You're right. Because I'm not your partner anymore."
What?
Yeah.
Fine.
Miles leaves the locker room. Sawyer looks down and then over to a mirror. He stares at himself for a brief moment and then throws a left hook, shattering the mirror.
Well.
2007, on Hydra Island, Sawyer and the women sit in the sand. She's got wavy brown shoulder-length hair and black-rimmed glasses. Sawyer offers her a drink from his canteen. She gratefully accepts, saying, "I'm Zoe. I can't believe there's anyone left alive. I thought I knew everybody on the plane." Sawyer says he wasn't on the plane. Zoe asks which plane he was on, but Sawyer tells her it's a long story. He asks what the hell happened there, and Zoe says, we crashed here.
Oops.
We were all just waiting for someone to rescue us. I was out collecting wood when I heard screaming. When I came back, they were all dead. I spent the last 2 days dragging their bodies up here. I didn't feel it was right to leave them out there in the sun. Are you alone? Sawyer tells her about the group on the main island and offers to take her there. Zoe says, "Thank God." And Sawyer replies, "Trust me, God's got nothing to do with it." Meanwhile, on the island, Kate weeps alone where she used to hide from the polar bears. Unlock approaches, apologizing for Claire's behavior and explaining that he told Claire the others had her baby. When Kate questions why he would do that, Unlock says, "Have you ever had an enemy? Someone that you needed to hate? It's very powerful, isn't it?" Claire was devastated about Aaron. She needed something to keep her going, so I gave her something to hate. And then when you told her the truth, all those feelings, all that anger that she had been holding on to for so long, it had to go somewhere. Kate thinks he's insightful for a dead man. Unlock says, and then continues, "Well, nobody's perfect. I'm sorry that this happened, and I'm sure if you give her time, everything will be all right. I promised before that I would keep everyone safe, and that means you too, Kate." Mm-hmm. Kate ignores him and asks where Sawyer is. Unlock offers to show her.
Zip.
I love how he keeps talking about keeping everybody safe while he just like massacred half of their group a matter of hours
Well, because
ago.
they chose not to leave. So
See?
Right. Their choice.
Back on Hydra Island, Sawyer and Zoe walk along the beach towards the Ajira plane. Zoe wonders if the aircraft can still fly and says, "I take it you haven't come across the pilot." Sawyer lies and says he hasn't. So Zoe starts rapid firing questions at Sawyer about who was on his plane and whether they have guns. As they reach the outrigger, Sawyer asks where her plane was headed and why she was going there. She answers him, "Guam, my boyfriend." Bullshit. At which point, Sawyer pulls his cock on her and guns it so that she knows he's serious.
What?
Oh, what? Yes, for those of you who didn't follow that, Sawyer pulls his gun out and cocks it so that we know that he's serious. He says, "You're good, sweetheart, but you ain't that good. Who are you?" Zoe responds by whistling and summoning several armed men from the foliage.
Oh, foliage.
The men are screaming at Sawyer to get down on his knees. Sawyer looks at Zoe and asks, "Is your name even Zoe?" She replies, "Is yours Sawyer?" Sawyer gives in and says, all right, you got me. Take me to your leader."
take me to your leader.
I find it incredibly unbelievable that Chip from Kate and Allie is holding a gun on anybody. He still has that super round baby face.
The chubby cheeks. Yeah, he does. You know what?
I can't take him serious.
I'm fairly certain I recall he's in a Law and Order SVU episode because I can remember those cheeks
Isn't
too.
everybody in an episode of Law
I've
and
been
Order?
in an episode of SVU.
By now, yeah.
They're scraping the bottom.
And I know I've said this off the recording, but the second guy behind Chip, I knew him.
Yeah,
I
that's
used to work
pretty
with him
cool.
long time ago.
On the main island, Unlock and Kate walk to the beach where Unlock points to Hydra Island and says he sent Sawyer there. Kate mentions that is the island where they were locked in cages and is annoyed that he didn't just tell her that. Unlock says, but then I wouldn't have gotten to talk to you. You referred to me as a dead man. I'm not a dead man. I know what you're feeling, Kate. I know what you're going through. My mother was crazy, long time ago, before I looked like this. I had a mother, just like everyone. She was a very disturbed woman. And as a result of that, I had some growing pains. Problems that I'm still trying to work my way through. Problems that could have been avoided had things been different.
Oh, the man
Kate
in
wants
black just
to-
needs therapy, guys.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
He just needs to work out those mommy issues. I wonder if we'll ever meet Mother.
Mother?
Just kidding. I know we will.
Kate wants to know why he feels the need to share this information, and Unlock says, because now Aaron has a crazy mother too.
Oh, well, whose fault is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Back to Hydra Island, Sawyer is being marched to a docked submarine. Crewmen are busy erecting a familiar defensive weapon, the slurp fence.
Yeah.
Okay. Sonar. Yeah, you're using
Remember?
five letters. I got
A
it.
5-letter S word. So,
Okay.
yep, this time we went with slurp because the slurp
Okay.
fence sounds like a good time.
Okay, got it. Zoe instructs Sawyer to enter the submarine, saying, he's waiting for you. He looks down to see an armed man at the bottom and climbs inside and begins the descent. Flash sideways, number 5, 2004, off the island. Sawyer comes home to a dark apartment and fixes himself a frozen meal. While eating it on the couch, he watches Little House on the Prairie. On the show, Laura tells her father that she doesn't know what she'd do without them. Her father replies, nothing's ever going to happen to us. Not today, anyway. That's the way you live this life, each day, one at a time. Now, if you spend your whole life worrying about something that's going to happen before you know it, your life's over, and you spend an awful lot just worrying. Laughter can be heard in the show's background, and he continues, hey, you heard that? Now that's what life's all about, laughing and loving each other, and knowing that people aren't really gone when they die. We have all the good memories to sustain us until we see him again. Laura comments that it's hard not to be afraid, and her father validates with an, I know, sweetheart.
Well,
A touching moment from Little House on the Prairie.
well, it's, yeah. I mean, not just Little House on the Prairie, but that's quite a message coming through
Yeah,
from this
yeah.
show, too, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
I looked up Chip from Kate and Allie. His real name is Frederick Kohler, and I was mistaken. It appears as though he's been on every Law and Order besides SVU, but I have figured out that I was recognizing him from 2 episodes of Criminal Minds, of course. The only other option of shows that I watch over and over and over again. Although I did just restart The Following because I wasn't watching SVU or Criminal Minds. Do you guys ever watch The Following?
No.
Oh,
No.
it's a completely ridiculous show, but it stars Kevin Bacon, and it's 3 seasons long. It's totally silly and not at all believable, but for anybody that loves like serial killer lore, which seems to be like every white woman, I guess. It's basically a fiction about a serial killing cult. And Kevin Bacon, the cop who chases the leader. And it's just another terrible crime show, basically, that I can't not watch.
Whatever
Yeah.
floats your boat, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. My boat is afloatif.
Foul boat doth float.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next thing. Later, Sawyer knocks on a door while holding a sunflower and some beer. Rocky opens it and says, "You've got to be kidding me." He asks to come in, and she tells him, "Absolutely not." Sawyer questions this, so Charlotte says, "You don't get to kick me out at 3 o'clock in the morning and then come around the next day with puppy dog eyes and a sad sunflower. Look, I don't know if you're just lonely or guilty or completely mad, but you know what? I don't care. You blew it." She closes the door, and Sawyer leaves the sunflower and walks away.
Love her for that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You can't.
Serious.
Yeah, I threw
of
you
all,
out for digging through my drawer.
Yeah. This is not going to. I'm a kleptomaniac, and it's obviously not going to work for you. Like,
Oh my God.
Like, shouldn't have been rifling through my shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that happened to me, if I was in Rocky's position and some guy pulled that shit with me like that, I'd be like, dude, how dare you show up at my door? Which, by the way, how the fuck does he know where she lives? They went on one date.
Investigator.
He is a cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess he could be breaking the rules like Miles, looking up his partner's information. He could just be searching hers.
Or maybe
Creepy.
Miles just told him about, like, here's her address, you know?
I mean, I guess so. I find that also weird, but still. Yeah, you don't act like a psycho after just fucking somebody and then show up at their door. No.
But remember, she was digging through his
Yeah.
drawer.
I mean, there's still that. Like,
Yeah.
I guess
the
so,
response,
yeah.
The response was a little heavy-handed, but he has every right to tell her to fuck off. And at this point, I guess she's got every right to tell him fuck off.
Yeah.
And since they're not real people, it doesn't really matter.
Right. And they should just, what they should do is just fuck. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Just right there in the doorway.
Yep.
Been there,
right.
done that. She didn't get the t-shirt.
Yep. Ah.
Nope.
Back to 2007 on Widmore's wrinkly old submarine. Zoe is leading Sawyer through the sub. He tugs at a locked door and asks what's behind it. She tells him to mind his business and then knocks on another door. Charles Widmore invites them in and dismisses Zoe. He says, "Hello, Mr. Ford. My name is Charles Widmore. Do you know who I am?" Sawyer refuses to shake his hand and says, "Of course I do. You're the fellow that sent a freighter on the island with guys to kill us all." Widmore thinks it's sad how little Sawyer actually knows. Sawyer asserts that he knows Widmore just murdered a bunch of people and then dragged them to a ditch.
Well,
Yep.
Widmore says, "We didn't murder those people, but I expect you don't believe that."
could have been
Sawyer-
Smokey, I suppose. Although he doesn't tend to stack bodies, but still.
Yeah. when you got free time, you know.
Yeah.
But he says, "But I don't expect you to believe that." Sawyer retorts, "Good, I don't." Widmore wants to know why Sawyer is on Hydra Island. Sawyer tells him that John Locke sent him. Widmore says, "John Locke's dead." Sawyer
Well-
continues, "I think we both know the guy I'm talking about. It's not really Locke. Here's the deal, Chief. I'll go back there and tell him the coast is clear and I didn't find anybody. Then I'll bring the old man to your doorstep and then you can kill him."
Oh.
A hint of a smile can be seen on Widmore's face, and he wants to know what Sawyer wants in exchange. Sawyer replies, 1, the people I come back with, people get on the boat. People on my boat don't get touched. Not even a hair on their head. And 2, you give a safe passage off the island. Widmore questions how he can know Sawyer is trustworthy, to which Sawyer says, "Same way I can trust you. So do we have an agreement?" The men shake hands, and Widmore says, "I suppose we do."
Well, this is interesting. We've been talking a little bit about the Sideways story versus the island story. Kate and Saeed kind of were up to their old shenanigans in the side verse, and they're over with Unlock. Ben made a better choice. He's with Alana. And we wondered what Sawyer was going to do this week, and seems to be waffling in
Exactly.
both places. There's no real good or bad going on with him quite yet. It feels quite ambiguous.
On
Anyway.
the island, Kate is walking through the jungle when Wild Claire pulls an unlock in the box. She says quietly, "Kate," And Kate flips her rifle to the forward position. Claire keeps talking. Kate, I just want to say I'm sorry. I know everything you did was just because you care about me and Aaron. Thank you. And thank you for taking care of him. Claire runs forward, throwing her arms around a stunned Kate. She says, I'm sorry, over and over. Kate finally hugs back and tries to comfort her by replying, it's okay. It's okay.
It's a really sweet scene.
That was the entire time I was waiting for her to try to slip a shiv in her again.
Okay, should have grabbed that big knife and started hacking away at that bush.
Oh, God.
She's got to get all through the ranch composite first.
Oh, God almighty. At the shore, Sawyer arrives in the outrigger and Unlock comes running to ask how it went. Sawyer says, you didn't really send me over there to find passengers from that plane, did you? Unlock admits he didn't. Sawyer tells him that everyone is dead. Unlock says, well, that's terrible. What happened? Sawyer says he doesn't know. So Unlock inquires, well, what do you know, James?
Jesus.
Sawyer says, I know there's a man over there on that island that ain't going to let us get on that plane without a fight. Came over here on a sub. Name's Widmore. Unlock clarifies that he means Charles Widmore, and Sawyer says, well, I guess y'all know each other. He ain't alone. Counted at least 6 armed compadres with him, not to mention whatever crew's on that sub. There's a locked room on there, something they're hiding, and they're setting up pylons, like the ones in New Otherton. You know, ones that keep out the smoke thing. Unlock tilts his head a bit and wants to know what Sawyer told Widmore about him. Sawyer admits, I told him I'd tell you the coast was clear and bring you back with me. Walk you right into their trap. That way they could kill you, which means they'll be caught with their pants down when we change our plan of attack.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Unlock replies, I appreciate your loyalty, James. Sawyer says a deal's a deal, and Unlock promised to get him off the island. The men nod at each other.
Double agent.
Yep.
What?
Flash sideways number 6. Sawyer pulls up as Miles is leaving the police station. What are you doing here? Miles asks. Get in the car, Sawyer replies. Once Miles is in the car, Sawyer hands him the binder labeled Sawyer. Miles opens it, puzzled. Who's Sawyer? He asks. Officer James Ford explains, when I was 9 years old, my father shot my mother. Then he killed himself. Sawyer was the reason why. He was a grifter, a con man. I've been hunting him since the day I left the academy. I chased down a lead in Australia, got a name, Anthony Cooper. I ran the name, got a list of Anthony Coopers, and I've been calling them. And when I find the right one, I'm going to kill him.
Did you just tell your cop partner that
Not
you're
a very cop thing to do.
plotting a murder? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing.
Miles asks, why didn't you tell me any of this? Sawyer admits, I knew you'd try to talk me out of it. And Miles, shaking his head, replies, damn right. Fair enough, Sawyer says, just as another car crashes into them.
Bam.
Whoa, my car. Sawyer explains. It says,
Dude, my car.
Dude, my car. Dude, it's totally wrecked. My car.
Oh,
Sweet.
Dude.
my hair.
Yeah, how's my hair? A hooded figure exits the other vehicle and runs towards the alley. Hey, Sawyer shouts. I almost said lawyer.
Sawyer shouts.
Sawyer. Thank you for making fun of my speech impediment. Hey, Sawyer shouts, driving around the block to intercept the runner. He chases them to the end of the alley, grabs them, and pulls it off the hood. Son of a bitch. You're right. There is another son of a bitch. As he's face to face with Kate.
What?
What?
I want to ask a question here because back in one of the first 2 episodes, the LAX episodes, we see Kate escaping from the marshal, and she runs into the elevator, and there's Sawyer. So at the time, we think he's the Sawyer that we know, and we joked about how he kind of let her go, basically, knowing it was, at least to us, apparent she was being chased. And I think we said, yeah, like sees like. And of course, you know, he's letting her go because he's a con man. Well, now that we know that he's a cop in this universe, what was that about?
Yeah,
he knew
that's a good
he knew what the
question.
code was of the cops in the elevator, and he was just asking rhetorically, what is a code, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, that's classified or whatever. He's like, all right, well, how if I know if I see one?
Okay.
Yep.
So
and he probably
we were
knew
just,
that code.
Yeah. So it's all explainable, but they definitely wrote it so that it would feel like, the familiar Sawyer in that scene, I think. Yeah. All right. Ben, last scene of the show or the episode.
2007 on the island. Kate is sitting on the dark beach, wrapped in a blanket, cooking something on a campfire. Sawyer approaches and asks, "What's for dinner?" "Rabbit, I think," Kate replies. "Good, I'm starving." Sawyer says as he sits beside her. "What are you doing running errands for Locke?" Kate questions. Sawyer says he ain't running errands for anybody. Kate probes further. "He sent you over to the other island. Did you find the plane?" Sawyer says, "Yeah. And that ain't the only thing over there. Guy named Widmore set up camp over on the beach. Got a whole team with him. Guys with guns. They're here for Locke." Kate, concerned, asks, "So what are you going to do?" With a sly grin, Sawyer answers, "I'm going to let them fight it out. And when they got their hands full with each other, you and me are getting the hell off this island." Kate, skeptical, says, "Even if we could get on that plane, who's going to fly it?" With a confident smirk, Sawyer reveals, "We ain't taking the plane, Freckles. Taking the sub." Because I'm sure that's easy to pilot.
So he's just
you're
going to pilot a
inexperienced.
sub, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want your, a crushing pressure death or a fall from the sky and fire death? It's like one of the two.
Crushing pressure would be my choice.
Yeah, just ask those people that were going to the Titanic. That's pretty,
I guarantee you they
second.
didn't feel anything.
No, exactly.
It was over.
Anyways, lost title screen, end of episode. I guess we're all pretty angry about the sub driving thing because I had the same thought too. I was like, what okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all right. Maybe they're planning on kidnapping the captain.
It was a choice between being a con man or a submariner. I went to submariner school. Whatever, man.
Alrighty. Shall we do some fun facts?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, this week, Sideways Sawyer says that the movie Bullet by Steve McQueen was why he became a cop. So the film is this week's fun facts, including why it was so clever to make Sideways Sawyer a fan of it. Bullet is a classic American action thriller film released in 1968. It was directed by Peter Yates, and the film stars Steve McQueen in one of his most iconic roles as Lieutenant Frank Bullitt. It's not as on the nose as you might think, because it is spelled Bullitt. However, Lieutenant Frank Bullitt is a no-nonsense San Francisco police detective, and the film centers around he who is assigned to protect a mob informant named Johnny Ross. Ross is set to testify against the organization he betrayed, but things go awry when Ross is murdered. Bullitt, determined to find the killers and expose the conspiracy, navigates through a web of deception and danger. Interesting. The investigation leads him through various parts of San Francisco, culminating in a dramatic and unforgettable car chase. In fact, this groundbreaking car chase sequence is often hailed as one of the greatest in cinematic history. The chase lasts for about 10 minutes. That's like that's Jason Bourne car stuff right there.
Yeah.
This is 1968. So the 10-minute car chase features Bullitt driving a 1968 Ford Mustang GT Fastback through the streets of San Francisco, pursuing a Dodge Charger RT. Bullitt influenced numerous action films that followed, particularly in depicting car chases and police procedurals. It'd be interesting. I wonder if the person who wrote the Jason Bourne books / movies was a fan of Bullitt. Anyways, McQueen's portrayal of Bullet became a defining role in his career and contributed to his King of Cool persona. Also sounds familiar. Speaking of familiarity, let's talk about some similarities between Sawyer and Frank Bullitt. Both characters exude a rugged, roguish charm that makes them compelling and memorable. Steve McQueen's Frank Bullitt is cool, calm, collected, and operates by his own rules, much like our pal Sawyer. They are both anti-heroes who often bend the rules to achieve justice. Sawyer, of course, starts off as a con man with questionable morals, but gradually reveals a more complex and heroic side, fitting the anti-hero mold perfectly. Bullitt and Sawyer both follow a personal code of conduct that may not align with societal norms, but is unwavering and deeply ingrained. Both characters exhibit a strong rebellious streak and a disdain for authority. Bullitt often clashes with bureaucratic figures, such as another character named Senator Chalmers, who's played by Robert Vaughn. I looked him up. In the Bullitt movie, Senator Chalmers is trying to, put the kibosh on the badass cop guy. But I looked at the actor, and guess what? He has quite an extensive movie and television career, including 2 episodes on Law & Order SVU. Sawyer frequently butts heads with other leaders on our island, including, of course, Jack, Locke, Unlock, Ben Linus, and more.
So it sounds like this is the archetypical, investigator cop that doesn't play by the rules, sort of. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting how Sawyer's character, although he went through a transformation, those same qualities that made him a good con man are also what could make him a good cop.
Sure, I think most cops are probably would probably be more skilled criminals if just knowing what they know.
One of the recurring themes, sort of, when you watch Criminal Minds or even Mindhunter or talk to anybody about the actual FBI BAU, and a lot of the profilers will say the same thing. Like, in order to get inside the head of a serial killer, you have to somehow relate to that in a certain way in order to be able to catch them. So... yeah, well, we'll dig more into these, themes of how you may possess, a certain quality, but it's also sort of up to you as to how to use that quality, whether you want to be a cop or a con man or any other dichotomy, if you know what I mean. We do some best and worst moments. I'm going to start with Derek today.
Okay, my worst moment was crazy Claire trying to kill Kate and Saeed just not doing anything. He's just staring at her.
Yeah, he doesn't look so good, does he?
No, he's very distracted or something.
Maybe like a zombie.
There you go. He's waiting for them to kill each other so he can get the brains. And my best moment was I like the Miles and Sawyer cop interaction, being partners in the LAPD, which is kind of ironic considering what Sawyer is on the island. And I do like that, Sawyer did confess to Miles why he went to Australia because he's, was trying to find the guy that was responsible for his parents' death.
Indeed. Alrighty. Thank you, Christy. What about your best and worst moments?
Mine are kind of polar opposites, but I really, really enjoyed seeing Unlock slapping the shit out of Claire. That was but then I also really liked seeing the whole scene between Claire and Kate when Claire apologized. So those were my best moments. My worst moment was the same as Derek. Zombie Saeed not helping Kate when Claire tried to kill her. What the fuck? So anyway, those are mine.
My worst moment is similar to that because it's about the same moment, but it wasn't that Saeed didn't get up to help Kate that really got me. It was just everything leading up to the fight, including the fight, just the vibe, I guess I should say, that Saeed is putting out there. I hate seeing him this way. I understand, he's also an anti-hero as we talk about Frank Bullitt and Sawyer. Saeed has done some horrible things, but he's always been such a strong, awesome character, I guess, unless he's getting some Putin Annie. But I just don't like him seeing him that way, that blank stare, the monotone voice. It was just like, oh man, it made me sad. My best moment, however, was the actual fight between Claire and Kate. I love a good girl wrestle, but also I just feel differently about Claire this season than the rest of you do. I love insane, wild Claire, and just the fact that she went from 1 minute holding her hand to trying to slit her throat to sobbing and hugging Kate. I don't know why, but I just love it, and I find Claire,
she's just batshit
interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, I find her interesting as an absolute lunatic. So those are my best and worst. How about you, Ben?
Let's see, my best moments. I think when Claire is trying to kill Kate and Locke just picks her up like a box basically and just sort of tosses her. I thought that was hilarious. I actually I thought the scene between Sawyer and Rocky Dennis in the restaurant was really good. I actually liked the way that they wrote that one. That seemed like there's good chemistry there.
Definitely.
I think for the worst scene, it's probably when Kate is in the shack or whatever with Claire and she's looking at the Borby and she's like, why did you do this? And she said, it's all I had. I was like, really?
Yeah, that's a tough moment.
And then, to be honest, a lot of the rest of this, I didn't really have any other, I guess, worst moments.
No worst moments?
Really?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not even Saeed being useless?
No, I mean, I thought it's sad that that's happened. It's sad that he is that way, but
It's not a bad moment.
it's interesting. It's interesting, to see that, it's like watching soul death, he's there, but he's not really there.
How many times have you watched Soul Death, whatever that means?
Soul death.
It's not a show or anything. I'm just talking about when your soul dies. It's like ego death, soul death, whatever.
Well, yeah, but the ego's real. So, all right, it's like watching soul death. It's certainly, yeah, I guess that you're really saying the same thing I said, which is the sort of essence of Saeed appears to be gone, and that makes me sad. Yeah,
The
I gotcha.
Skeksis put that hat thing on him and drained him of his essence.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That scared the shit out of me as a kid, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, did you have some more?
No, that was it.
All right. Well, why don't you just keep going? Give us your rankings for this week.
Okay, I'll start from the bottom. Third from the bottom, I've got Charles Widmore. Just because he's Charles Widmore, he's got that face. Second worst, I've got
He looked
Claire.
handsome in the submarine, actually. Well, I guess that's just me.
I'm not as attracted to semen as you are, so I guess. Second place, I got Claire. Or second from worst, I have Claire. I don't have a worst. Not sure why, but I just didn't really have a least favorite in this episode. I didn't want to punish anyone too badly. Third best, I've got the Man in Black. Second best, I've got Miles. Just honestly, because I was hard pressed to find best and worst in this. But Sawyer, I've got in the top slot, obviously, because he was the focus of the episode. But I'm not gonna kill anybody, and I'm gonna fuck Charlotte when she's all classed up.
Oh yeah. When he comes up from behind her, like when she's not facing him yet, although you can clearly tell it's her the second you see her, but that silhouette of like her back while she's sitting at the bar and her beautiful red hair, yeah, she looks hot as fuck. All right, Derek, what did your rankings look like this week?
My third worst was Zoe, because I just didn't trust her from the moment she appeared. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of right on that. Second worst is Charles Widmore. And no, I don't think his wrinkly submarine is sexy either. And my worst is Crazy Claire. I just don't like her. And she tried to kill Kate. And, it's just not a good thing to do.
Indeed.
And my third best is the Man in Black. Because he's kind of, he's the father figure right now, it seems, or a parental figure, I guess.
Yeah, the way he's scolding everyone is hilarious.
Yeah, go sit over there.
I wonder how Terry O'Quinn felt about his role changing like that. About essentially his character dying and then playing another character.
Well, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, you can't tell if he didn't enjoy it, because he's certainly fucking killing it.
And the second best is Miles. I liked Cop Miles, and the same reason Sawyer's number
Miles.
one. And I also like that he's playing Widmore against the Man in Black. He's kind of waffling between the sides.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like in the Flash Sideways, he's it's not waffling between the two camps, but he certainly just seems more of like a morally ambiguous. I can't say that word right now. Thank you.
Ambiguous.
The ambiguously gay
Architecture.
duo. Architecture. Anyways, it's like on the island, we don't really know if he's even going to end up on a side at this point. And then the Flash Sideways, he still hasn't had that moment of truth, right? He's searching for Anthony Cooper. He acted like a jackass on a date, which I guess you could put in the like side of bad, but he hasn't really made a decision in the Sideways verse either. So that's interesting. Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to fuck Charlotte. No whip. Just her. And then I'm going to kill Charles Widmore.
All right. I had a tough time this week. With my rankings, like I just wasn't really mad at anybody, and I have no one in the worst. I don't know why. I just couldn't give that to anyone this week. I was just having a blast. And no, not Claire, actually. She's my third best, because I am going to fight the three of you on this. Wild, crazy Claire is the best version of Claire. And
that's not saying much.
Right.
And
right.
I am just completely obsessed with all things crazy Claire, from the Borby to the hand holding to the I'm not the one that needs saving to, I mean, she just, I love her. Number 2, second best, the Man in Black. The way that he just like condescended to everyone around him, and it's almost like he's just patting them on the heads, like, just be good little pawns until I enact my plan and probably slaughter you. And there's something fantastic about that. And then at the top, I had Sawyer. Which is interesting after saying so much of it was ambiguous, because I ended up being like, oh, he's still the best. And I think the reason is because I'm just kind of loving his plan. He's like, you know what? He's like a corporation who just steps back and is like, let me have these two demographics fight over everything while I get away with murder. and so, I mean, that's essentially what he's doing, which in the state of capitalism and politics. I find that abhorrent. But in this case, it seems like a really good idea. Just pit the sides against them and then hightail it out of there. So I love
lest
that.
we forget, you don't know how to drive a sub, so all of this is for naught, but whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, of course, we're all very angry about that silly little detail, but that's fine. I had a tough time with my fuck as well, because I was waffling between fucking Claire and Kate, like during the fight, or getting in on a little Charlotte and Sawyer. And I eventually went with the latter because I figured there'd be less blood.
Probably a little more cleanly, yeah.
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 And I'm going to kill Zoe only because I didn't really have anybody else to kill, and I don't like her deception, but I will say that it was fantastic casting / acting regarding the part of Zoe, because I immediately found her shifty. All right. Christy, what about your rankings, dear?
So for me, on the bottom, I had third from the bottom. You know what I mean? Third worst. I had Chip from Kate and Allie, because it was so unbelievable. In the middle, I had Sawyer, because he was kind of a dick for a good portion of this episode,
Really?
in my opinion.
What?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We can fight about that. Wait, what made him dickish? In what way?
I mean, throwing Charlotte out at 3:00 in the morning, showing back
sideways.
up at her house.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
I
sideways
didn't.
Sawyer was kind of a dick.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be mad at him because you know what he went through, and that was that's some very personal information. But still, like, you can't act like a psycho right after you fuck a stranger, basically.
And then show back up at her house the next day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's better to do it afterward. If you do it before, then you probably won't get laid.
Oh no.
Well, he wasn't getting it a second time, that's for sure. At the top of the bottom, I have Charles Woodmore. I don't trust him at all. He's just not a good guy.
Okay.
And I had the opposite problem as some of you. I had a hard time finding anyone who I really, really liked in this episode.
Oh, all right.
so-
Interesting.
Yep. So I only have Charlotte in the number one spot.
Okay.
As far as the fuck, apparently Charlotte is going to be walking funny for a while. So I'm going to be with her and Sawyer.
I get her first.
Oh.
And then I'm just going to kill the man in black because,
What?
Because why not?
yeah.
All right. Ben, can you update us? What do the rankings look like after episode 8?
After episode 8, we've got Dogecoin and Creamy Keemy still tied at the bottom of the, or third from the bottom, each with 26 points. Randy, Douchebag, Nations, second place, negative 28 points. And Arts still in first place with negative 34 points. Long way of
So
saying
nothing changed.
no changes on the bottom.
Oh, this is wild because those characters are all like Flash Sideways characters or dead characters or both.
At the top, we've got Miles in third place with 31 points. Jack, the
Miles!
Silver Surgeon, not moving, but still at 45 points.
Miles
Yeah,
Miles knocked Ilana out. She only had
did.
1 week. 1 week
Yep.
in there, huh?
Yep.
She knocked Helen, and then Miles was like, "Nope, bitch." All right, good for you, Miles.
I don't think he actually said that, but yeah, I mean,
No.
same idea. And still Hurley on top, though his climb is somewhat slower. I mean, he's only gained 1 point over the last 4 episodes. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's where we are.
All right. Well, thank you. Shall we do some final impressions? How about you, Christy?
It was a good episode. I enjoyed the Sawyer Miles buddy cop stuff. I don't know, not my favorite episode of the show ever. but
Okay.
it was all right.
All righty. Ben, what about you?
You know what I think I figured out about this season is that the whole Flash Sideways just sort of kills it for me, to be honest. I don't need, I feel like I'm being forced to relive characters that were one way and now I'm being forced to watch them be another. I get it. This is what would happen if circumstances were different. But the thing is I don't care about those other characters. I care about the characters that I knew. So this episode really, really gets into that. Okay, all of a sudden he's a cop. Oh, okay, I see. He made a different choice. I see what they're getting at, but I did not really like this episode. I thought it might have been fine, but the fact is, the Flash Sideways feels like a reason to take up another season to me. To be honest, a lot of the season hasn't really worked for me. It was the sort of temple stuff at first, but now it's like they're relying way too much on these Flash Sideways.
Okay, but what do you mean by that, relying on the Sideways too much?
Well, again, it's like, for me, there's the characters that I care about. These aren't them. That's all it is. Like, this is not Sawyer that I know. That was not Ben Linus. Good episode, but that wasn't Ben Linus. I don't
How do you
care.
know that?
Well, because when it comes down to it, I've gotten to know these characters. I don't care who they are in an alternate universe, especially an alternate universe where we're only going to see them, maybe one episode. I don't know. It's the same problem I've had with a lot, like the sort of overarching part of this season is I'm really just not all that convinced that the Flash Sideways was the right way to do this.
Like it was more just like filler or something.
It feels a bit like it. Yeah, it does.
Well, do you think that you would change your mind, or you'd be open to changing your mind when you get to the end and find out what actually is happening?
Sure.
Or are you just going to hate it no matter what?
No, I'm not going to hate it no matter what. I'm going to watch it and I'm going to have an open mind. But I can say that, as much as I have enjoyed some of these episodes and there's been good moments and stuff like that, on the whole, I think this season is I think suffering because of its over reliance on this on these reimagined characters.
Okay. All right, I guess it's my turn. I liked the episode. It's not necessarily one of my favorites, but it's not one I hate. I disagree about the Sideways stuff overall, just because I feel like it's a new, interesting mystery to me. Like, is this really them? Did we split off into a multiverse? Is something else going on here? Is any of this real? So I get some, viewing enjoyment from that. This episode in particular, I found it interesting in the way that I sort of already expressed, which is how I'm watching the Sideverse behavior versus the island behavior. And since I already had sort of a working theory going on, it was interesting coming into Sawyer's episode and not really getting any sort of answer out of that. And so I enjoyed that as well. I also just love Sawyer and his naked cop chest. So that was a plus as well. But yeah, overall, good episode. And it definitely, we're pushing the plot along, seeing some little tendrils that are now forming to, bring us to the culmination of the end of the show, which is going to be bittersweet. Derek, what do you think of Recon? Did it answer anything for you? Did it make more questions for you? Do you have general opinions about the Flash Sideways?
I thought it was an okay episode.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as the Flash Sideways, yeah, I'm kind of like with Ben. I'm like, what are the point? What is the point of them? Is it going to lead to something at the end, some big reveal? Or because if it just turns out these are just like alternate multiverse characters, no thanks. Not a fan. But I'm hoping it's going to be more than that.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as this episode in particular, it was okay. The whole crazy Claire stuff, I don't care for. And, Saeed being a zombie. And the cliffhanger was lame, too, because, they don't have a sub driver.
Not yet. Anyway.
Not yet. Maybe Lapidus can drive a sub, too.
Yeah, you fly a plane, you can drive a sub, of course.
And it really didn't generate many questions. I mean, the only question I had was, if Charles Widmore didn't kill those Ajira survivors, then who did?
That's if Charles Widmore is telling the truth, I guess. But yeah, could have been Smokey, could have been Widmore. Maybe the ghost of Keeney was gunning people down. That could happen too. Leave himself a little creamy pile. All right.
Vincent's gone feral.
Yeah.
Ripping people up as they sleep. Every night he just goes up to their throats and just...
If you look closer at the bodies, you can see his little head peeking out. And he's like camping in them. Oh my God. Oh, Vincent. All right, guys. Well, seems we weren't entirely thrilled about this week's episode, but I predict next week will be different. Because next week, it's Wednesday, July 24th, and it's finally here. We get Richard Alpert's backstory. It's called Ab Aeterno, and it's a Richard and Derek episode. Join us as we see Alpert before he was immortal, find out how the fuck he got to the island, and explore who's the real bad guy there. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.
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 Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and SpaceBear_Media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.